I want to talk to you about a communication technique, silence. It sounds counterintuitive, doesn't it? Communication, silence, but I can tell you that it's really effective and I've used it many times. Recently, I had a client that came to me and said, "Hey, I'm really struggling with having a conversation with one of my employees. I'm not pulling out all the things that I need to pull out from them, and I'm not getting a deep conversation." So I shared these things that I'm going to talk to you about today around silence, and it helped him tremendously. I've discovered that using silence in conversations can foster deeper conversations, enhance understanding, and allow for a more thoughtful response. Deliberately remaining silent allows the person talking to more fully express their thoughts and emotions, gives them a chance to think about what they want to say. Instead of rushing to speak when you've asked a question, let them sit there for a minute, sit in silence, give them space to collect their thoughts and to convey the message. I'll tell you, it can be uncomfortable sitting there, not saying anything. You need to learn when to use silence too. You don't use it all the time, but if you want to draw a deeper response or you want to give them just a little bit of time to think and give you a more thoughtful response, pause. Don't say anything. We used to teach this in sales, and I remember how uncomfortable this was. You give the offer, and then the rule was the first person that spoke lost. And when I used to do this, I would always want to say something in that space of silence. But I knew that I needed to wait for their response and just sit there in that silence. It's the same thing with this technique in a conversation. You're going to sit in silence and it's going to be uncomfortable, and it takes some practice. In using this communication tool, you must get used to feeling uncomfortable. Silence allows both parties the time to reflect on the conversation. It provides you, the person asking the question, to gather your thoughts and allows the listener time to absorb the information or the question that you've asked them. By taking time to pause, it gives the listener time to process and consider their response a lot more carefully. Many times you're going to find you're going to get a deeper, more thoughtful and thought-provoking response by allowing the silence. It can also be used when the emotions are high. Sometimes a moment of silence can provide a brief cooling off period when the discussion is very heated or tense. It allows both parties to collect their thoughts and regain their composure. It can de-escalate the emotion and create a more conducive environment for resolution. There's also the comfortable pause. Try not to finish the other person's sentence or respond rapidly after the person responds. This can take some practice too, because we think way faster than we speak. So take a moment to pause before you start to respond. This also takes some practice, but allows ideas to flourish and encourages others to share more of their thoughts. My client came back to me a couple weeks later and told me he'd been practicing this technique of using silence. And he was learning a lot more in his conversations from his team members. He was having deeper conversations and they were more thought-provoking. This is a powerful conversation tool. It takes a lot of practice to develop it and to know when to use it. Embrace the power of silence and observe how it can transform your conversations. If you want to get more done, if you want more accountability, or if you just want some help to get you to where you want to be, contact me at jeff@coachjeff.me. Thanks, and be audacious.